Hey, this is Tiger. Welcome to my stream. Good evening, HA. Thank you so much for the 3 white tigers to greet me with on this first Sunday night in this year, where we have to adjust to the summertime, Central European summertime, 8 in the evening, and that makes our starting time 1 hour earlier in UTC time, so we're starting at 1800 instead of 1900. Well, everybody who is here, be welcome to this early hour then. What are we going to do today? We are unboxing the beautiful Medway Valley Line. I can already turn on the indicators, and the Medway Valley Line released. At least I am quite sure that it has been released on March the 26th this week, and so far we did not get around to driving it, and it is a really beautiful scenery. It's fun driving it, and we're having a look, and we are sorting it into the context of Southeastern High Speed and whatever is happening there in the game. We have 2 new stickers to put in our train sticker book, and let me turn on the disclaimer as well, because I got this DLC for free from DTG for being an ambassador. Thanks again for that. What I'm telling you about it is still unfiltered anyway. It's also Firefly Productions released the debut, and we've seen a beautiful debut from the Czech producers, the Czech developers with the Czech line, and this DLC here actually chimes with the beauty of the scenery at any rate. So let's start it. I want to take you into one of the services in the beginning and through the content of the DLC later, after we have driven a couple of miles. I want to cut in a little presentation showing the context of the line. So you can see I already have driven one service from Strood to Paddock Wood, and maybe we do the same service half an hour later. It looks as if it is of the same stopping pattern, so that can't hurt. Let's have some summer weather so that we don't get too much fog. Route looks beautiful with fog, but anyway, we don't need so much of it for the unboxing stream at any rate. Route has some firsts, like we have a pimped up GSMR radio where we can log in our head code number. Acura, moin, Medway it is. Yes. And from what I've seen, not too much of it. It is beautiful. One caveat though, in case you are using ini tweaks, it can happen that your game crashes. That what happened to me. I was using or have been using ini tweaks a lot, and I had crashes almost every run, and now I'm using still DX12 but plain vanilla ini file, and now the crashes have gone away. So there are some settings in my tweaked ini file that crashed the game. Electrostar 375/3 is a 3-car variant, as you can see, quite short train, and we're starting it. Strood, where last year I actually stood around and took some pictures, as you can see in my video about the reality check for the Southeastern High Speed. Strood we know from Southeastern High Speed, of course. So, and here we are. unlike in the scenarios, the safety systems are turned off by default in the timetable runs.
Welcome aboard this southeastern service to Paddock Wood, calling at Cuxton, Farleigh, Snodland, New Hythe, Aylesford, Maidstone Barracks, Maidstone West, East Farleigh, Wateringbury, Yalding, Beltring, and Paddock Wood. This train has 3 coaches.
Yeah, this is Strood. This is the river Medway that gives the name to the line, and here is the bend to the left that we know from Southeastern High Speed. Typically in Southeastern High Speed we are connecting from the tunnels over there, and then we are going very slowly, 15 miles per hour typically, and then going to the left here and then joining with the line that takes us to Rochester and Chatham and Gillingham. Also the DRA is not set. We can register our head code. Our head code can be found here, 2T10. So 2T10 and then a 3-digit number for our driver ID. And then we register. Good. We cannot leave here because we have still a red light. We wait for the signal to clear before we can close the doors. Now it cleared. If we get a guard signal, I don't think we get a guard signal. Not if we close it with the buttons. If we close it with the keyboard shorts, we should get a guard signal. What if...
The next station is Cuxton.
Cuxton. 15 out of Strood. This is this bridge that we typically run over in Southeastern High Speed. This is where the submarine is. You can see it here, even in this view. And now we're passing the Chatham main line. That is coming from London and is going to Rochester and Chatham and Faversham and finally to Ramsgate and Dover. And you can already see in those first impressions that they really invested a lot in the scenery. This also goes for night driving. This is Rochester Castle, I think. At least with the night setup for the headlights, you can actually drive very nicely at night and see your surroundings and the speedboards and most of the stuff that you need. River Medway to the left. Can go 70 here. For most of the time Hexa. And now, what is this? Any idea what we are just passing here? Those really, really megalithic architecture. What did we just pass to solve this question when we just passed the presentation? Presentation. We had a video recently about, quite early today, the presentation. Yes, I want to have it out of the way because it is not actually like rules or stuff, but to see where we are driving around in the beautiful United Kingdom. And we had a couple of weeks ago, we had a video about all the main lines going down from London and up to London and the stations. And we are making the context now. This is the Greater London area and even a bit around of it. Here you can see where it is in Europe. Obviously, here are the British Isles, France, Germany, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Poland, Czech Republic, Austria, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, not to forget Italy. And here, this part is what we have here, London. And in this video, you can see that there are a couple of lines running in and out of London. The Great Western Main Line, like the one that we have from the Great Western Express from Paddington. Then here in a different color, the South Eastern High Speed, the High Speed 1 line from St. Pancras to Ashford International. The Channel Tunnel Rail Link, the Brighton Main Line from London Victoria that we have in a beautiful DLC still for the London commuter. Not yet the branch that goes to London Road Station. Then we have the West Coast Main Line in the game of London Euston. Not in the game yet is the Midland Main Line. Also not in the game is this part of the East Coast Main Line that later connects to Peterborough. And also not in the game so far, the West Anglia Main Line and the Great Eastern Main Line. Also not really in the game. We can cut it a bit with the Mildmay line that takes us to Stratford, is the London Tilbury and Southend line, also with the Barking Riverside line. We are cutting through this little bit where there is a lot of lines overlapping. The Chatham Main Line is that with two branches here in this area, and the Southeastern Main Line. If you want to hear it a bit more with more detail, then check out the video on my YouTube channel about the London line stations. Also, the London overground lines are discussed. The Southwest Main Line. Funny enough, if I got it right, it is called the Southwest Main Line, not the Southwestern. Great Western, Great Eastern, Southeastern, and Southwest Main Line here. And then the last one is the Chiltern Main Line, and those lines connect somewhere, and we want to know where we fit in with our line in the Medway Valley and with Strood, where we just started. And for that, I have a first in my presentation too. I move this map a bit out of the way and load the next map tile in so that we can see where we are. So we are in the southeastern part, a bit further away from London, and we can see where the lines cross and so on. Channel Tunnel Rail Link High Speed 1 goes on here, partly in tunnels, but big parts also overground until Ashford in the game. After that, the line goes on to actually the Channel Tunnel and then to France, but this is not in the game. So this bit is in the game. where the white line is in the middle. It is not in the game yet. And what we also have in the same DLC, the Southeastern High Speed, is the line from Strood, where we just started our service, and then across the bridge with submarine, and then Rochester, Chatham, Gillingham, Rainham, Sittingborough, Faversham, and Faversham then is the end of the represented area in the DLC. What we don't have is this branch that goes on to Ramsgate and the other branch that goes to Dover Priory. What we have, so that the trains can actually get there, because those two lines are not connected, we have this part that branches off at Abbotsfleet and goes via Gravesend to Strood. Here, Hoo Junction, with a lot of shunting going on. Hythe, the station that is especially famous for the fact that Charles Dickens had a Swiss chalet delivered to him in a lot of boxes via this station. At least this is what stuck to my mind. And then you can go into Strood and go on. This is called the North Kent line, and with the extended version of the Southeastern High Speed, we also got this part from Gravesend to Dartford, and actually this line goes on passing Woolwich, what is also then a namesake for this line, and goes into London Road or wherever these trains then connect to into the more city area. The Southeastern Main Line goes also on through Sevenoaks to Tonbridge, and then it turns to the left and goes more or less in a straight line also to Ashford, where it then shares track with the with the high speed 1 line, and finally goes to Dover Priory, where it meets with the southern branch of the Chatham Main Line. Chatham, by the way, if you don't know yet, this is where DTG headquarter is, and this is why this line is more or less DTG's front garden, and so often represented in the game. And what is now the line that we are running on? It is this connector here between Strood, passes through, almost running parallel with the Chatham Main Line here, where it merges or crosses here at Strood. This is this part where we just ran under the bridge, and then going more or less south is Snodland, and then towards Maidstone, and then back to Paddock Wood. So this is more or less the Medway Valley Line from Strood to Paddock Wood. This part to Tonbridge is also in the DLC. This is the first part of the Southeastern Main Line that we actually have in the game now. And also in the DLC is an upgraded version or updated version of Gravesend to Rainham. This part of the North Kent line, and then part of the Chatham Main Line from Strood to Rainham. That's where I said this part has been represented probably most often in the DLC so far. Yeah, this is what we have for this DLC, and we know now where all this is happening. And we also know that what we just passed underneath is high speed 1. On those large bridges, it's obviously, or probably not even fair to call them bridges, because the tracks are just running elevated on those stilts. And you can actually see in the DLC the javelins running there between Stratford, Ebbsfleet, and then Ashford International. Yep. AI traffic comes in here through the Kent Downs line or East Maidstone line, and then at Tonbridge you have AI traffic that runs to Hastings via Tunbridge Wells, or connecting here to the left, to the west, to the Brighton Main Line at a place called Red Hill, if you remember that from driving the London Brighton line. So this is a more or less direct connect between the Brighton main line and the Tonbridge here. You can go to the south to Hastings and then via Eastbourne, that we also have seen in the remaster for the East Coastway, and then to Brighton. So this is how all this connects and where we are running around in the map. This is why we see so much that we already know from the Southeastern High Speed. Train-wise, we're getting 2 new versions of the Electrostar. This is part of the video about the Electrostar family. If you're interested in that, you can watch this video. And in the game, we don't have that many of this area. Especially we don't have a 357 of the 375 Electrostars so far. We only have the Stroke 9 from the Southeastern High Speed DLC. Not anything from the 376, and what this DLC gives us, 2 stickers to put into our sticker book for the Stroke 3 and the Stroke 6 version. This is the 3-car variant, the Stroke 3, that's what we are on at the moment. The other one is a 4-car variant and is the only dual voltage variant of the 375 Electrostar. So those are in the game now with this DLC. And you also get, even without buying the DLC, if I'm informed correctly at this point, updated versions of all those trains that run on the Southeastern High Speed, especially the 375/9 and the network, the 465/9 and the 700, Class 700, the Zero City train. That was the stuff that was released a bit early by mistake. All right. Now we know where we are running. High Speed 1 on its way to Ashford. And we're stopping with an emergency brake at Cuxton. Even so short a train does not fit in there with an emergency brake, so I actually have to get a bit further on before I open my doors. See if I find my stopping position without being guided. That will be here. Driving against the red signal, yes. But it cleared. The signal gave way. So, this is Cuxton. So the stations look really nice too. A lot of stuff where you can go on foot, wander about, enjoy the landscape. So I will be deliberately late, I guess, because I want to enjoy the landscape and the scenery. You have those signal boxes. It's actually someone working inside the signal box. You cannot enter it, but you have partly animated content and you can see what is happening in the signal box. So that is really nice. But finally we have to pass on. Now the Gartrud bus. Takes his time a bit. But then he's there. Hauling is next. Either on the way to hauling or afterwards. We pass an old cement factory with a siding that you can explore. A lot of whistle boards. The AI trains are whistling. And this is why it is called the Medway Valley, because the Medway is to the left. Here's the cement factory that I mentioned, with the sidings. They were disused for quite some time. Later then reactivated, if I'm not mistaken. Did you see that? The screen goes dark after you've reached a certain speed and then lights up again when you're slow enough. Hauling. British Transport Police vans. Great British Railway signs. This is one of the collectibles you have to throw in. The envelopes, Firefly Simulations. Not giving away. Their address. Snodland is the next one.
The next station is Snodland. This is British Transport Police. If you notice something out of the ordinary, speak to a member of staff or text us on 61016 and we'll get it sorted. That's 61016.
Look at those stop markers they have. A part of the sign that you can read when you're actually
Welcome aboard this southeastern service
sitting
to
next to it,
Paddock Wood.
so that you don't miss it when you're looking at them from this angle. Snodland station, CCTV in operation. Here we have it, Snodland. Oops. Sounds kind of Scandinavian, Snodland. Yeah, that is true.
Next station is New Hythe.
New Hythe, there will be a speed limit if I remember correctly. There's also a yellow signal, distance signal, as shown by the white triangle. Here's the level crossing path to the lake that we honked for. Here's a magnet. But it's not for a signal, but it is for the limit. Drops to 60, announces 40. New Hythe. Signal clear to yellow if I see that correctly. New Hythe. What do we have here? Trailers put up in a interesting way.
Reasons, e-scooters are banned from the railway. This includes on trains and at stations.
And we're going to Aylesford. What is or was the home of the guy who built this line with his company at the time.
station
Let's hope this is yellow.
Aylesford.
Probably was. Aylesford. And we have to drop to 40 when we drive into Aylesford. Moment we can still go 60. So the signs could be a bit more reflective. Here was already the 40. I was a bit late for that. Approaching a red. So,
If you see anything suspicious, please report it to a member of staff or the...
signal box. This one has the shutters down. Indian takeaway. And one beautiful thing, traffic lights. So if we want to walk around on foot, we don't need to be afraid that the cars run you over. Traffic lights are actually working. Now we're actually faster than the guard. That is obviously not the idea. And we have to stop at Maidstone Barracks. Called Maidstone Barracks. Most probably because of some military installation.
The next station is Maidstone Barracks.
Are we dropping to 30? Still no, we're going out of this 40 drop. We're dropping for Maidstone East, but not for Maidstone Barracks. Great scenery along the river. So we can go 70 past this sign. Yeah, well, I have to admit this scenery is next level. There are some horses. And the horses are actually walking about. They walk a bit strange for horses, but well, they walk. Passing the motorway. Freight train sitting in the siding. So at least 2 cargo lines are layering in the DLC here. Javelin coming. Scenery that changes with the seasons, like balloons only in summer, or at least not in winter. There was for the Morpeth board announcing 30 when we get to Maidstone East.
Shortly be arriving at Maidstone Barracks. This is British Transport Police. If you notice something out of the ordinary, speak to a member of staff or text us on 61016 and we'll get it sorted. That's 61016. See it, say it, sorted.
So, the barracks.
Station is Maidstone West.
And for that we have to slow down to 30. So there's no point in accelerating too much. So here in this area is where
we will shortly be arriving at Maidstone West.
the Kent's Down line crosses our line here.
Paddock Wood, calling at East Farleigh, Wateringbury, Yalding, Beltring and Paddock Wood. This train has 3 coaches. Platform 2 for the 0700 Southeastern service to Paddock Wood.
There must be a disused car standing around. Or maybe this is a mastery reward or something. Maybe here. It is not there.
This includes on trains and at stations. Please travel without them.
So now for the second part of the route.
The next station is Farleigh.
Another one of those signal boxes with interior. There's someone working in it. That is the AWS alarm for the drop to 40.
We will shortly be arriving at East Farleigh.
When alighting the train. Here the limit increases to 55 only, not to 70. Yep. That's what I've been telling you, and still accelerating to 70. For Wateringbury, I think we have to slow down. Anyway, here are the cows. Here's my yellow signal. And at the end of the straight, I guess we have to be down to 40. Some more boat liveries would have been nice, but it's just a small matter. Well, you're right, the boats are a bit similar, but on the other hand, it is really a lot of boats. So some repetition is unavoidable, I guess. Signal is red. Yeah, but all in all, I don't know if you agree with me, but this is next level scenery that we have here. I want my Acura points for setting the DRA, please. So here we have a bit of a more modern version. Of the signal box interior. The lighting on those facades is really pretty. Plus 10. Yes, thank you. And now the plus 100 for releasing it again. For releasing it on time, yes. Plus 100. Oh, for Wateringbury we would have to slow down. For the next one, because there is... Is it the one with the level crossing? Yes, I think it is the one with a level crossing. Next station has a locally controlled level crossing. So that we get the signage for locally controlled level crossings. But here the speed limit for the level crossing also agrees with the line speed limit. In the other direction, the line speed is higher than the level crossing limit. That was the AWS for this sign. Where is the warning sign for the level crossing? I think though the level crossing is not that one that we just passed. For that one we honked. And here we have a drop to 30 line speed, and then this sign we get when we have a locally controlled level crossing. And that was the sign that they sign with the black cross and white background was for. So this should be an ABCL level crossing here. No. An AO. No, ABCL. Half barriers. Not sand, open the door. Half barriers, and signage wise it is locally controlled, and this is why we've got those flashing white lights, so we know from the West Somerset Railway. Locally controlled means by those signals we as a driver have to make sure that we don't pass the signal unless we get the white flashing light. And we get the white flashing light. I always like this because it is called locally controlled, and that means it is controlled by us.
The next station is Beltring.
Beltring, and for that we get line speed 70 again. But soon enough they will slow us down. I think to 50 first and then to 35. 25, 15 when we're going into platform 1. A lot of whistling.
We will shortly be arriving at Beltring. Would customers please take care when alighting the train? This station has a narrow platform.
When driving properly, you probably should not use the step 3 that much. But if you're enjoying the scenery, it must be forgiven. So, here are the sheep. Amazingly animated. And allegedly, depending on the season, you have lambs with them on the field. Or rather not. Beautiful. I think they used the same walking animation for the horses that they used for the sheep. This is why it looks weird on the horses and good on the sheep. Sheepshire City Radar! So nice to see you! Thank you for posting this picture of Mala Scala. That was amazing. A narrow platform, it's a toothpick of a platform, yeah, that's true.
Next station is Paddock Wood.
And Paddock Wood is already the end for our service. We're already getting the 35 announced. I come to Mala Scala today and you will not recognize the place, no? I recognized it immediately from the DLC. And now it looks different. Oh no. Drop to 50. And then we can go on slowing down because we have to slow down to 35 soon enough. Level crossing, this time remotely controlled. Those are the houses for the 4 dwarfs. It was a whistle board, not the 35 board. 35 board comes later. Here. DHL. Omnipresent at the moment in every new release.
Paddock Wood. Please check that you have all your personal belongings with you when leaving the train, and keep them with you at all times while on the station. If you see anything suspicious,
I'm so confused. The title says 1800, the countdown says 21, and the regular time is 2000. Yes, I'm sorry. I did not fix the countdown first. 1800 is correct because now we are in summertime, so 1800 UTC is now 2000 Central European time. Now we are 2 hours ahead of UTC in summer. But Spectre, hey guys, I might have confused you with my countdown thingy, because I thought it will actually adapt to the summertime, but it didn't. AJ just told me a couple of minutes before the stream. The 1800 in the title, and I was so proud that I got the correct time in the title. So we are already at our destination. Petroleum train running past. And this is the first part in the game of the southeastern main line. Here we can actually go to Tonbridge. Not with this service here, but with other services. And this petroleum train is actually going around the corner towards Strood. And here, if you have the impression that you can go on forever without getting into a bend, this is almost true, because here you can almost go without ever going around the corner towards Ashford International. As we have seen in the map of the presentation that I had earlier. Maybe I bring it on again once more, since I did this thing with the countdown timer. Or as a recap for Akura and me. So what did we do? We connected to our video with all the main lines running in and out of London, especially the Chatham main line, the Channel Tunnel Rail Link, High Speed 1, and the Southeastern main line. And I made this new gimmick in my presentations that I can move my map out of the way and spawn a new tile, so that we can see how this goes on in the southeastern direction. Channel Tunnel Rail Link. Until Ashford, it is in the game. After that, it goes on in real life. And the Chatham main line from Strood to Feversham is also in the southeastern high speed, together with this part of the North Kent line between Dartford and Strood. The southeastern main line has not been in the game so far. Here at Tonbridge, it starts going in a straight line to Ashford, where it then shares track with High Speed 1, and then meets the southern branch of the Chatham main line at Dover. And this is our DLC that we played today, the Medway Valley Line from Strood to Paddock Wood. And this part of the Great Eastern Main Line is also in the DLC, Tonbridge to Paddock Wood. That's why I said this is the first part of the of the Southeastern Main Line. In the game, also in the DLC, is this part of the North Kent line, respectively the Chatham main line between Graves and via Strood and Rainham, that we already know from the southeastern high speed, but in a improved version. Yes, that's what we did. And we put 2 new stickers into our Electrostar sticker book, together with the stroke 9 version of the class 375. We now have the stroke 3 and the stroke 6 version. And also, for the first time, we have working toilets in the train. Accessible toilets that are actually accessible. You won't believe it. You enter it, close it. You can. I hope the toilets do not add gameplay. I don't think so. I think it is just a gimmick because there was the myth that there will never be a working toilet. You can sit on the toilet and you can even use the external cameras from the toilet. That means maybe you can even drive your train from the toilets. No, but you can use the external cameras. And the seat is actually opening when you're sitting down. You can flush, but you cannot wash your hands. I think, at least. So, at any rate, you can hide or lock someone in the toilet. Working CCTV in the guard mode I have not tried yet, but it is in the list of new things. In guard mode you have to chase people out of the toilet. That's a highlight for Sakura, yeah. And Spectre, I don't know. Since I never play guard mode, I would not know. Maybe you have to check the toilets if someone is stowing away there. If you want to change ends at some point in time, you have to deregister from the GSMR and register again on the other end. Yeah, of course, this is what you meant. This is what gave me the idea, Spectre. But I can't tell you, I have never touched guard mode really, and it would be a nice thing to add to guard mode. Yep, that's it. Go to main menu. Let's look through the content as it presents itself. For this DLC, so a really beautiful DLC. We have a rail journey, Medway Valley, a very Medway Valley journey. Route introduction, that's 375/3 introduction. Scenario, Night Rider, so that is driving at night. Especially the night driving has been improved a lot. Snow. And then something that simulates a whole day. Five scenarios, one with level 5 difficulty. Obviously, I did not check out whether it is actually so difficult to drive. Training modules lists only the route introduction, not the loco introduction. But it is there. And in the timetable, we get the class 375/3, the class 375/6, 3 car, 4 car, with those older headlights. The Javelin is running a couple of services there. The class 700 is especially running on that bit between Gravesend and Gillingham. Rail tours are running around with the Crompton, with the 47. Some freight stuff is happening with 2 cargo lines coming in. We have the Networker to play, and also a Flying Kentishman scenario rail tour is here. 238 services for the stroke 6, 67 for the stroke 3, 85 for the 700, 92 for the 465, at least 72 for the Javelin. Layers. Obviously, the Javelin has to come in, the 700 has to come in. Then probably some AI services, miscellaneous freight, cargo line aggregates, railhead treatment train is coming in, cargo line petroleum, the 465 is coming in, another Javelin set, the Medway Valley Venturer, this is the Crompton that is coming in, 375, Maidstone East, that is the AI traffic at Maidstone Barracks. Statics, aggregates, statics, freight statics, eventing rounder, that is the 47, the Flying Kentishman, that is what is layering in, so there are not so many surprises. For the Javelin, you have to own the Southeastern High Speed. For the 700, you have to own the 700. For the Crompton, you have to own the Crompton. And the 47, you have to own the Networker, you have to own, and the Scotsman. Obviously, whether you get a 66, I'm not entirely sure. Doesn't look it, so if you just buy it naked, then you probably only get the 2 Electro Stars with this DLC. So, for rounding this up, let's play something short. It's a horrible, drizzly day. Start your shift as a Jubilee sidings and bring your 375 into service for the day. It is rated with 15 minutes. Let's see what happens. Next week is already a busy release week again. Tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, the Class 90 is supposed to be released. And on Tuesday, the
Morning, driver. Don't you just love the rain? No? Me neither. Anyway, make your way over to Jubilee Sidings to get sorted out and set up for today.
And did you hear? We have voiceover in the scenarios. We're going our way of safety. At least there is a path where we can go. We don't need to trudge along the track. What a surprise that there is rain in the scenario. Yes. Well, there is a lot of mist, fog and stuff happening. in the scenarios. Because it looks really great with the lighting in. Head towards Jubilee Sidings. Be careful to stay away from the tracks. So where do I need to go? This way? No. This way? Yes. Rain in Britain? Sometimes it happens. Now our path ends. Do I go over here? Probably I do, huh? Yes. Head towards Jubilee Sidings. Be careful. Nothing for the easily triggered here. So which is mine now? Move towards the front. So why did we go back then? Just to check that this train has an end. So, which one is ours now? That one that is already set up. Nice thing, to open the door, you don't click on the door, you pull this thingy here. That was the correct one. And to close it, the handle. Can I not close this door here? Well, then stay open. You door. Horror movie vibes coming up 28 days later, anyone? Jurors, same as the Tigerways, good to see you, and good to see you. Turn on the headlights tonight driving. I hope you're doing well. Turn the tail lights off. Service has started. It's scheduled. That allows us to turn on the safety systems. Ah! They were actually activated already. And I cancelled the alarm automatically. I'm good, thanks man, enjoying this new route. It's beautiful. It is, isn't it? It is really, really, really beautiful. So we are waiting, everything is red. We don't even know what head code we have, so I cannot log into the GSMR. Wait for the clear signal, then disable the DRA. So why was our train already on? I thought we can press the aux on button. But I think in the training scenario you do a cold start. Ah, now the signal cleared. As indicated, 15 we have here. So, and why don't we register with our head code? Because we don't have a head code yet. We're just shunting. This is very red, this signal. This one I can distinguish from the red one, from the yellow one. Push down the DRA button to earn 10 Acura points. Press register on the GSMR. Now we're registering. So our head code will be 5. That means we're running an empty coach service. T05. No, I was too fast. T, wait a bit. 0, 5, and then 523 is our driver identification number. Wait for the clear signal, then disable the DRA. Alright, we can see the signal still. No. Well, we disable it anyway. It's not a clear signal, but it is a proceed signal at any rate. Yes, 110 points. Thank you so much. But that was easy because the scenario was guiding us through. I love how the screen switches off when you're faster than 5 miles. You're out, so it's just 55 AP for not messing up. I accept that. In case anyone wondered, we're at Tonbridge. So on the the southeastern main line. Oh, there's a lot of cherry-colored light coming in from this red light. No, we are already deregistering. Probably because we're going to the other end. We're changing ends, maybe.
How did you find it? Go and have a quick break, get dry, then we'll be ready to get 2 Tango 05 away on time. It should be a fun day, despite the weather.
Does anyone know who does this voiceover? Because it is really good. Somehow reminds me of this guy who plays Q in the latest Bond movies. No comparison to the voiceover in the TSG Expert Locomotive DLCs. So, maybe we find a short thing to drive in snow. And we've seen different conditions. Dover Priory to London Victoria. Between Rainham and Rochester. That is the part of the Chatham main line. Would love to have Jim Parsons as Sheldon Cooper as voiceover in upcoming and North America DLCs. I would not mind. I would not mind at all. But just stick with the train. Maybe that one. We have some short ones. Ramsgate to London Victoria, Gillingham. Let's take one of those very short ones here. So that we can see the part on the southeastern main line between Tonbridge and Paddock Wood, but I want to do it during daytime so that we can see a bit, and then do it in February, January. It's actually not getting that cold, and we want to have clear, but we want to have snow. Why can I not have snow? Does this line never have snow? Well, probably not in August. Yeah. Sometimes I'm a bit stupid. In January we can have snow. The two guys from Little Britain would also be cool. Or tell an interesting fact. He would probably find something to criticize in my driving every 5 seconds or so. Well, given the fact that he is one of the greatest known train aficionados, he'd probably tell you that you can't exist the way that you are existing at the moment. No, I want a clear day. But the fact alone that they took it upon themselves to provide voiceover in the scenarios is a big bonus for this route. Ramsgate to London, Charing Cross. Ramsgate, that is north of Dover, the northern arm of the Chatham main line actually, so this train is coming from Ramsgate, probably going over Dover, Ashford, coming here to Paddock Wood. Then we're driving this little bit to Tonbridge, and then it is going on the southeastern main line to London Charing Cross, which is not in the game yet. Unlock the doors. Now we need neutral. Let's just check on which side our platform is.
Welcome aboard this southeastern
2W28, 2 Whiskey, 28, 2 Whiskey, 28, 007, 007. And the DRA. Now I want my point. And I want my lights. It's 007 since we're talking about Q. I had to register as 007. I've been expecting you, Mr. Bond. I'm expecting you to die. You like your guest shaking, not yes.
The next station is Tonbridge.
Tonbridge. We can go 100. Mind that they use the railway alphabet font for the speedboards. Yeah, I like it in the snow. Looks beautiful. And what are we encountering? A temporary speed restriction. Jon Snow! Says CD Radar. Or James Snow. So the problem with those temporary speed restrictions is that they are always announced in a distance that allows you safely to forget about them again when you finally get there. Not many curves on that section of track. No. And you can go on like this until you get to Ashford International. So that would probably be a DLC that we can try to do in the editor. At least we don't have to provide too many curves. That's so true, this yours. World Railway speed record attempts then. True. But it's a third rail. How can we do speed records here? We need the 25,000 volts from the overhead catenary. The horses are walking about in the snow. Oh, did you see that? The horses have snow on their backs. No. Oh yeah, they have. Somebody has to dust off the horses. Someone call the animal welfare, please. Yes. The RSPCA. 610106. Yeah, if you see something that is not right, that does not seem right, like the horses with the snow. Well, doesn't work. That would be a nice Easter egg. The flashing is still weird. Yeah, I guess. That was not the magnet for the signal yet. And the signal has cleared. It was an approach controlled. You can see the feather on, and if the feather is on... Do you think they will remaster the London to Brighton route? That would be awesome. I love that route. Yeah, I totally agree. They could also do the connection between Tonbridge and Redhill here. Because if you go on and don't follow the southeastern main line, but go straight on, then you will end up at Redhill on the Brighton main line. So are we going into... Oh, it's actually 40. There it says so. And here we are at Tonbridge. And this line here goes to Redhill on the Brighton main line. Don't know how interesting is. How far is it to Eastbourne on... for Eastbourne, I can't tell you how far it is, but you would go south here to Hastings and then turn right along the coast, and then you're already almost at Eastbourne. Whereas the southeastern main line goes here towards London. Maybe they connect the dots at one point, like the West Coast main line. Maybe. Is that thing yellow? It is yellow. There's a railhead treatment train sitting about. Yeah, but look at this, the scenery. It just works. It just works great. It looks real. It looks good. So really amazing. Here's the 25. But we're not going in the 25 hole. We're going through the 40 hole. So we're actually going on to Charing Cross. With this train, that means we're going to the right. And follow the southeastern main line. Yeah, I think, at any rate. If they are not going a weird way. Whoops. And those thingies here, actually, those gates, they work. Also a super nice touch. Even without presenting a ticket. And the British Transport Police is running 100% electric with 0 emissions. Alright. I'm really enchanted by the scenery. This is taking things to the next level. I also like the GSMR radio with the head code registration. Well, the emissions are at the power plant, Sheldon Cooper would say is the Spectre. Most probably that is where they are. I'm very happy about this DLC. Rolling stock wise, it is not as comprehensive as the Czech DLC, obviously. So it does not take the cake away from Liberec Stara Parka as the best DLC that was released this year. But it is really enchantingly beautiful and a lot of fun. And it is getting the British routes ahead, I should say. Also, the trains for the Southeastern High Speed have been improved, and maybe more functionality on trains is what makes the game better in the future. Here's the petroleum. No, it's not the petroleum, it's the aggregates train this time. That's probably going to Ashford. Okay, guys, thank you for being with me and bearing with me. I will keep streaming on 8 Central European time, what now translates during summer to 1800 UTC. So 2 hours ahead of UTC until October, when the clock is set back again. Across the scenery-wise, this route is outstanding beside the boats. And there are just Iveco Eurocargo trucks. Yeah, that's the thing. Somewhere you have to make some limitations, I guess. Okay, next week we will have 2 releases. The Class 90 tomorrow and the Deutsche Bahn Baureihe 147 on Tuesday, if I'm not mixing up things. So maybe I will get around to do some more unboxing during the week. If not, we meet again next Sunday. Have the greatest of times, guys, and enjoy the simulation and your lives especially. Bye bye.